Hello, class of 2026. Dr. Richardson here. I wish I could see your faces. I'm so happy to get to see you either virtually or face to face. We just, missed you guys. So, I like to travel someplace once a week, and I just, money is no object. I can go anywhere. And it just, like I said, it really opens up the possibilities in this world of things that I can do one day. And one place that I've always thought about going is Morocco. And I don't know if you know where Morocco is. It's on the northern portion of North Africa. And it's got the Mediterranean Sea above and the Atlantic Ocean to the west, and it just in the Sahara Desert. I mean, it looks amazing, and you can see there's lots of colors. The food is supposed to be amazing. There's just spices, coffees, teas, and just so much variety in Morocco. I just think that would be an amazing place to travel. So that's someplace I would like to go. I still would love to hear about places that you would like to go. So maybe among the class, maybe you guys can think about different places that you would like to travel. Okay. Well, today's lesson, it's something I've been thinking a lot about. It's about kindness. And I'm going to show you, and you're going to have to bear with me and be kind to me as I try to share my screen and go to these different websites. But when I show you these two videos, I found two really great examples of kindness. And a lot of times we get kindness mixed up with being nice, and they're really two different things. So in your class, maybe guys, maybe you could write on the whiteboard like words to describe kindness and words to describe being nice. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to do that. You can pause the video. Okay, so now I hope you guys did that as a class. So now we're going to, as I said, I'm going to show you two acts of kindness. And what I want you to do, and as you watch these two videos, I want you to just write down what you see, what you observe. Just it's simple as that. Just write down what you see. The first example is a young man named Tio. And in the second example, it's Maurice. So you may want to do two columns, or you may want to do on your paper, however you want to do it. I'm going to let you decide and let your teacher decide. But these are the two videos that I'm going to show you. And I just want you to write down what you see and what you are observing. So as I'm finding my screen, what I want you to do is just stretch, take a second, and just stretch. So we're going to go to this one first.
And everybody loves her so much.
As we approach the holidays, most families are probably planning something at least a little different this year. Maybe yours can't get together in person because
All right, well, I'm struggling with trying to find it, but this is a picture of Tio. And here's what happened. Tio just started working at Kroger, and he is a bagger. And so he just started working. He decided to get a job. He's a senior. He plays basketball. He wants to go to the University of Kentucky. This story takes place in Kentucky. Tio is the bagger, and he notices that this elderly man is checking out, and he's got these groceries, and he doesn't have enough money. So the cashier says, sir, you got to put these groceries back. You know, you don't have enough money. You're $35 short. Well, Tio doesn't hesitate. He reaches in his pocket. And he pulls out $35 and he hands it to the cashier and he pays for the food. So, and the man was able, you know, to go ahead and go on his way. So that is what happened. There was an actual interview with Tio, and Tio shared that he said he didn't even think about it. He just knew that this man needed food, and he just realized that just by giving this man $35, this man could eat for several more days and have several more days of having food. So that is the first example. And now I'm going to go to the second example. Okay, I'm back. And so now we're going to go to this. And this is Maurice. And he is helping an elderly woman. And again, I want you to just share what you're observing.
Youngster making hearts sore today. 8-year-old Maurice Adams is helping a lady up some steep steps near Macon, Georgia. He lifts her walker, his hand placed gently on her back. When they get to the top, he's rewarded with a hug. And here he is, that sweet little boy. His mom, Contricia, was driving by when they saw the lady struggling. Mom pulled over and Maurice hopped out to help. She gave you a hug at the end. What did she say?
She said I'm special.
She told you that you're special. Sure restores our faith in the youth of America.
Okay. So those were two examples of kindness. So as a class, I want you to talk about what you observed. What did you see in the first example with Tio, or hear about when I shared the story with you? What were some things that you observed? And write down those and discuss as a class. And then what did you observe in the second example with with Maurice helping the elderly woman? What were some things that you just observed? And so as a class, just talk about what you observed. So I'll give you a few seconds. Okay, as you guys discussed, what did you come up with? So from your observations, what I want you to do is, as a class, what do you think the word kindness means? What did, from your observation, this is how our brains are developing. This is how we move into that little bit deeper thinking. We observe and then we apply meaning to it. So what is the significance, or what does it mean, all your observations together? What conclusions can you draw with the word kindness and what kindness means by these two examples of kindness? So I'm gonna give you a few seconds as a class to see what you come up with. Okay, so welcome back. So kindness, I looked up the word because, I've always kind of been confused myself on what the difference between kindness and being nice. Because it's like, oh, she's so kind, she's so nice, but they are totally different things. Nice is just how you treat somebody, but kindness is actually meeting a person's need. It's seeing a person's need, it's seeing where they are and meeting that need. And another thing that it comes up with is that it's just, you just do it. So in the video, in those two examples, what need did with Tio, what need did the elderly man have that Tio met? What need was that? Okay, give you a few seconds more. And you can pause the video, please. And then now welcome back. So now in the second example, what needs did this young man, Maurice, what did he see that that he saw, that he met? What need did the elderly woman have that he met? So as a class, just talk about that amongst yourselves. All right, well, I hope you came up with, in the first example, the elderly man was hungry and he needed food. So his need was food, hunger. And the second example is she was struggling. That's really hard. She could have fallen, breaking a hip. She could have done anything. And he saw that need and he didn't hesitate. Maurice didn't hesitate. He got out of the car and he helped her up the stairs. And the first example, what I want you to think about is Tio, he didn't hesitate. You know, he saw that this elderly man needed $35 and he didn't hesitate to give the cashier the $35 to cover the cost of the groceries. But here's what I want you to realize. Maurice could have sat there and said, nah, man, I'm saving up for a car. I'm working hard. I don't really have $35. I just started. But he didn't do any of that. He just responded to the need that he saw. The other thing about kindness is you don't expect anything in return. You don't brag about it. You're like, oh, guess what I did today? No, he didn't brag about, neither example, somebody saw it and filmed it, or they didn't expect anything. They just did it. It's a mindset. Kindness, it's an attitude and a mindset in which you treat all people because of the value that you place upon the person. In both of those examples, Tio and Maurice, they both saw the value in these two people and they met the need that they had. And like I said, it is a mindset. So I'm getting ready to go into the second step video. I know a lot of the teachers like to go through it on your own, which is awesome. And if that's what you want to do, you can go ahead and stop. But if you want to continue on with me, I will pull it up on the screen and we will go forth. But whatever you decide to do, I want you to look at this lesson with this mindset of kindness. And what needs do you think these people in this video, these examples in this video, what needs do they have? And I want you to think what you would do in that situation to show kindness towards these individuals. So while I am finding the video, again, I want you to stretch, take a brain break, just take a small break. Okay, so here we go. This is gender-based harassment. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to recognize gender-based harassment and the effects. And I want you to think about the effects, at how it makes somebody feel, how somebody looks at themselves based upon what people say about them. And I know you guys have all experienced this. I have had so many conversations with students saying he looked at me this way, or he's talking about me, and it made you feel some kind of a way. That's what I mean when I say effects, and that because somebody looked at you a certain way and it impacted you, or it made you feel some kind of way. That's what effects it can have on someone. And I want you to connect that when we go through this story. And also, again, I want you to look at this as kindness. We're also going to learn how stereotypes about gender contribute to what's called gender-based harassment. And just to refresh, harassment happens, it can happen one time, or it can move into bullying if it happens many times, but it can only happen one time. It's some type of aggression against someone based on real or perceived characteristics. That's different things that they do, behaviors, the way they look, such as race, religion, sex, or gender. So that's, again, another definition of the word harassment. So we're going to go further in this. Now, here's the warm-up activity. And I want you to decide if this statement is true or if this statement is false. And if you say true, I want you to say, why is this true? Or if you say it's false, I want you to come up with why it's false. We're moving into, guys, where we want you to dig deeper and to come up with the why and the meaning behind some of the answers that you pick. We want you to think through things. So take a second and do this. You can pause the video. Okay. Now I'm going to reveal the answer. The answer, if you said false, that is the correct answer. It's false because not all teenagers are on social media all the time. For example, right now, a lot of you are teenagers, you're 13. And are you on social media right now? You better not be. I hope not. So this is an example of a stereotype. When some people think of teenagers, they think immediately, oh, they're on social media all the time. And it's not fair to judge a teenager based on the fact that a lot of teenagers do use social media, but you're not on it all the time. You are a lot more to you than just the stereotype. Okay. So now let's talk about what is a stereotype. Just to give you a very quick definition, it's an oversimplified. That means it's just really base. It's very simple, just like in that example I gave you. It's a belief or idea that groups of people have a particular characteristic, or that all people with a particular characteristic are the same. You're just, what it is you're grouping. You're grouping people and you're making a judgment about those people. For example, you could say all elderly people are mean. You may, and just because maybe you know one elderly person that might be mean, that's an example of a stereotype. They're not fair, and they can also be hurtful. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video, is how this one particular stereotype can be very hurtful. And it's a gender stereotype. It's a stereotype based on ideas about female and male characteristics or habits or behaviors. So now that we all understand what stereotype is, we're going to go and delve into this a little bit further. All right, gender stereotypes. So what I'd love for you guys to do, if your teacher has a whiteboard, I would like for you guys to come up with, as a class, what would be some gender stereotypes for males that you're familiar with, and what would be some female stereotypes that you're familiar with. For example, girls don't play sports would be a gender stereotype, and boys do not like to read. That might be, or all boys are jocks or something like that. Those are just some examples. So as a class, come up with some typical stereotypes about males and typical stereotypes about females. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that. You pause the video. All right, so now I'm going to give you guys a definition of what gender-based harassment means. It is an aggression. Remember, we talked about that, based against someone based on their gender or sex. This also includes aggression against someone because they don't conform to the male or female stereotypes that we just talked about. So that's what this is. And I remember this whole lesson is about kindness and how to meet somebody at their need, and how to make those effects, how to treat people with respect and acceptance. So now we're going to go into this video to help you understand this even more.
Class long over two people arguing like
on one hand.
So there's this boy that's in our class, and the girls just tease him about hanging out with the girls instead of hanging out with the boys. So they always telling him that he's gay and messing with him all the time, and that makes him very upset.
There were a couple guys who rode my bus and just spent the entire time throwing around like homophobic slurs and talking about how much They like hated and feared and felt disgusted by gay people.
When I came to school in September, it was a lot of conversations. People would ask their friends like, oh, is that a boy or a girl? Or like, what is that boy wearing? Or like, is that boy wearing a skirt? Just really ignorant things that I found to be really offensive and really hurtful. And it made learning very difficult, and it made just walking from class to class very difficult, and staying happy and keeping my grades up difficult.
People would just call me like gay and like names and stuff, and people would just like pick on me and just left me out of like things, you know? I was feeling really depressed.
I felt really bad for the person they were talking about, and it kind of just made me feel like, wow, these people are really mean, you know?
It just creates fear, and it just makes people want to hide.
It lets people know that school is a place where there is this type of judgment, and where people are going to judge you for how you express yourself, and are going to talk about it, and are going to perpetuate these stigmas. And I don't think that's okay at all.
It's hard to see people who might be different to be picked on like that. I like to see different, because that's what makes us human.
Okay, so as a class, I want you guys to, what did you observe in this video? What did you observe? What did you see? What were some statements that stood out to you from this video? So I'm going to give you a minute to just talk about what you observed. Okay. So now, like I said, I hope you paused the video, and now we're back. There were a lot of statements that stood out to me. You know, I really liked what, you know, they said being different and is what makes us human. And we're not all the same. We may have similar characteristics, but we are not all the same. But we can treat people with respect and dignity and kindness. That is how I hope our stereotype as Griffin students is that a Griffin student treats others with kindness and respects the differences. So what we're going to do now these are different examples, and we're looking at the word effects. So like, remember we talked about earlier how this person might feel. In the video, they talked about being left out, not being a part of the group, not being called, different things. So I want you to think about, as I read these examples, what, you know, some effects that might have. Now, a 5, we're going to do 1 to 5. 1 is there's like no effects at all. And then a 5 would be a lot of effects. And so, or 3 could do, so either do, let's just do a 1 for no effects, or a 5 for there could be some effects, okay? So I want you guys to decide, because part of being a teenager is making decisions about what you think. So situation 1, it's either a 1 or a 5. Situation 1, a girl is harassed for having really short hair and always wearing athletic clothes. How might gender-based harassment affect this student? Would that be no effects at all, which would be a 1, or would it be, if this could affect this student, it would be a 5? So I'll give you time to do that. We can pause the video. I'd love for you to think about what some of those effects could be. All right. So now we're going to go to the next example. So, how might gender-based harassment affect these students in situation 2? A boy is harassed because he's not into competitive sports, has a lot of female friends, and enjoys art. Do you think that there could be some effects? If so, hold up a finger one. I mean, if you think there's no effects, hold up a finger one. If you think there could be some effects, like this could make this person feel left out, that would be a 5. So you could pause the video and let's talk about what might be some of those comments that might be made and how would that make this person feel. All right, so now we're going to go into situation 3. Remember, a 1 is for no effects and a 5 is for a lot of effects or effects. So situation 3, a girl who's really good at a male-dominated video game is constantly being harassed online. So would that be a 1 or a 5? Okay, so now we're moving, we're closing up on this lesson, and remember, kindness, when we answer this question, or when you answer this question as a class, I want you to have this mindset or this attitude of kindness, which is meeting somebody's needs, addressing them where they are. For example, if someone's feeling left out, maybe you could invite them to have lunch. Well, we're in COVID, but maybe you could send them a text message or however you want to connect with somebody so that they feel a part of. So as a class with this mindset of kindness, what can you do to prevent gender-based harassment at school? What is within your control? What is within your power to prevent gender-based harassment at school? So you can pause the video, and as a class, I would love for you to brainstorm on the whiteboard different things that students can do to prevent gender-based harassment at school. Okay. Well, students, I really enjoyed this time with you. Again, I wish I was in the classroom with you. You guys have a great week, and see you soon.